Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and Microsoft has announced DirectX 12 Ultimate. What are the implications for PC gaming as well as consoles? A week ago, Microsoft announced DirectX 12 Ultimate, and it's been a while, and I finally got a video to this because I kind of want to incorporate some of the console side of it as well as the PC side because I think it's both kind of important. There's a lot with the PS4 and the Xbox last week, and consoles kind of got on stage. Now, we've always had the PC, and the top end graphics cards today still are probably where the consoles are going to try to get to. So the next generation cards are going to be even faster than the consoles, and I fully expect that. But it is the progression forward here that we're starting to see where we can hopefully take advantage of some of the newer technologies that not only Microsoft but Sony will be implementing in their consoles going forward, especially even the cloud providers. And I think that's going to be a huge aspect of it too. Is the cloud providers going forward are going to want to incorporate a lot more and try to push the boundaries a little bit more. If we have a good baseline, they're going to be able to do that because they want to show off that they can really have some high fidelity stuff to try to attract more gamers on the online aspect of the platform. So Microsoft went through and announced the DirectX 12 Ultimate, and this is just based upon and stacked on top of DirectX 12. From my understanding, is I've read through the blog posts from Microsoft, AMD, gone through some of the technical stuff from Microsoft, as well as Microsoft's blog posts and Nvidia's as well. I did not see anything on Intel's, or didn't really pay attention to it right now because Intel may be coming out with something, but right now it's really, we already have RTX out from Nvidia, and AMD we know will be in the consoles that are supporting ray tracing, and Microsoft even called them out saying they're going to support the stuff in the new Xbox Series X. So really there's a lot there, and we need to really see more from Intel at this point, and I hope that we get there. More gaming is always better, and I do think that we're going to have a lot more competition here going forward, especially with AMD getting into the consoles and really seems to be actually figuring out something out with RDNA 2. But Microsoft really wants to create a full stack. So these cards that will support DirectX 12 Ultimate will support all these features. At least that my understanding is that they have to support all these features to be considered DirectX 12 Ultimate. And AMD did say and that all their cards. I was trying to make sure that I got this right. At least I've read someplace, I believe it was an AMD blog post, but I could be wrong, is that the RDNA 2 supports all of the aspects of DirectX 12. So, yeah. Yeah, that's what was in their blog post, and it's for PC and console. So Microsoft has this for PC and consoles, which is great. I bet you also that this is also going to be incorporated with their Project xCloud. I would say that might even be kind of underneath their console format, but this is all kind of like the same chip stuff developed for that. And if they want to support it and have it through and through for a developer aspect of this, and as a developer, you make it easier. It's the same APIs everywhere. It's much more easier to develop something and then be able to put it on multiple systems than it is to specify certain systems and low level stuff for even certain different cards. I can only imagine dealing with different cards based upon their what they support. So this is going to be a much better option than what's already out there for the DX R stuff that Microsoft did already have out there, and what Nvidia has already done. So they're moving in the right direction. Now they really want to have just a good benefit for the gamer, for the developer, and to be able to get stuff out there that is compatible across the spectrum. Microsoft's really focusing on a gaming everywhere scenario. It doesn't matter if you have a desktop, it doesn't matter if your console doesn't have, it matter if you're even using the cloud. They want it to be able to game where you want, when you want, how you want. And that's a really good aspect. I think even Sony should start taking a look at. I believe Sony's going to get there too. They did do some stuff with partnering with Microsoft with Azure for their for some of their gaming stuff, if I recall, a few months back. So I bet you that's still in planning stages, or even probably development stages of what's going to go there. But they also want to be a centric system where you want to go to gaming as well. NVIDIA wants to have that too, right? They have their streaming service when you're not using their cards in your PC. So there's a lot of this where let's bring it together and have everything out there. And this is one thing where it's going to be hopefully even easier to game. Now, diving into some of the DirectX 12 Ultimate features. One feature is the DirectX ray tracing. So this DXR 1.1. So this is, the next incremental thing off of DXR 1.0. So this ray tracing stuff, NVIDIA already has something out. I fully believe, I still think that, NVIDIA, this first iteration, will work with, I think it's going to be supported with DirectX 12 Ultimate Deep Dive. I think I read that on their blog post. You start reading so many things between blog posts and, technical data, you kind of forget about some things. But with this, all these advancements going on with ray tracing, this whole series of NVIDIA's next cards coming out will definitely, I believe, be a big enough jump over the current generation that they may kind of put, these are the cards that fully support everything, and they're going to, NVIDIA is great at selling stuff, and they will push you to the new generation because of how much better the performance and support is. It's just, I've seen this NVIDIA do this a few times, and I think they're going to do it again. They're going to say, we had good support with ray tracing with the first generation, but now you can fully ray trace everything that you want to ray trace. These are the cards that we support, and this is what you should be looking at, right? They're kind of going to move in that direction and just their user base to get the upgrade. Hopefully that they'll have more competition this time, so we have more things to choose from when you're in the market for a card from AMD and hopefully Intel at some point. But this whole ray tracing, I think that this is going to be the start for really developers getting into ray tracing, right? You're going to be supporting basically 100% of the market going forward with cards that are sold, and you're going to really show people how the ray tracing benefit can be there. Now, they did a lot of improvements to help with it not being so intensively such a big performance hit, which is key. Now, the hardware is going to have to support a lot of that and have improvements there. But at least we're not going to see the huge, or hopefully we don't see the huge hit that has been out there where it's, do you want to trade performance for visuals? What do you want to do? With these high refresh rate monitors and people want to play in high refresh rate, you want to keep that high refresh rate up, as well as then keeping, getting all the visuals as well. Now, the Xbox Series X, we'll see how Microsoft includes this into there. With the one API here with DirectX 12 Ultimate, you can have the slightly difference in hardware and still see a good performance out of it, or a performance that is playable, I should say. So depending upon how it's implemented in the Series X, now there's got to be some simulators because it's RDNA 2, but Microsoft has came out and said that there is differences as well between the desktop cards as well as the consoles. And there should be some differences, right? AMD wants to continue to do improvements. The console chips are kind of already were set in stone. You work with a specific, vendor or company like Microsoft or Sony, and they get to have their say of what they actually want in that semi-custom. AMD kind of wants to have a PC gaming graphics card. Well, that's going to go in here. That's going to also have some differences that Microsoft and Sony probably didn't want. That too is that you can scale up cost to be more than a console and a card. We've already seen NVIDIA do that. So, we've seen that for many years from NVIDIA with their Titan cards, and now the super cards are also the 2080 TIs that's up there in price. So you can just see where this is going to be because of the ability to spend more on it. So there's more availability there. But the variable rate shading is going to be an interesting one. I'm interested to see. I understand that you can dial in different things depending upon where the focus is going to be in the game. So different parts of the game need different visual rates of, or could have different visual rates of how good it is, right? Where you're focusing, you're moving fast through a scene, it may be better to do, turn down the details on the outside and keep the details in front of the person really high. And so they'll be able to do that. But I think the most interesting factor of this whole thing of DirectX 12 Ultimate is your mesh shaders. And this is kind of rethinking the graphical pipeline a little bit, making it a little bit more flexible, but also simpler. And being able to do the the data of your choice, man, I'm having a little problem here pronouncing things, but having the data of your choice into that message shader for your rasterization calls. They also have these things called amplified shaders that can go beforehand and then in the whole pipeline. I'll post Microsoft's blog post below. This is going to be very interesting. Should see some performance gains from this in games, as well as when developers start being able to take advantage of this. We'll see, it kind of does something a little bit different than the draw calls do beforehand, or how the old pipeline worked with the draw calls, I should say. But this is going to be really interesting. And then they also have the sampler feedback, where taking different samplings of items. Let me see if I can actually what their description is. Sampler feedback enables better visuals quality, shorter load times, and less shuttering by providing detailed information to enable the developer to only load textures when needed. So sounds good. We'll see how this all gets put together, but more importantly, what I'm thinking about this whole DirectX 12 that we've kind of gone through is that we have a baseline now of a lot of technology that NVIDIA pushed with RTX, the cards when they came out, as well as some of the stuff Microsoft talked up with original DXR that wasn't really, it was just out there, you could use it. But now that it's coming to DirectX 12 Ultimate, it's going to be the baseline that all developers really can have access to, really go and dive in and develop, rather than it being another package. Oh yeah, we can go use DXR, we can use some NVIDIA stuff. Now it's all right there. It's going to be the baseline. Sounding, reading a blog post from NVIDIA and AMD really kind of talk about how they're even excited where this baseline is going to be, so everything's built on top of it. Consoles can hold back a generation of gaming because it takes more effort to then get that game up to where like the RTX cards are. But now that the consoles are coming into this generation of gaming, with everything NVIDIA's worked on and everything out there already with technology, and even now with the DirectX 12 Ultimate, you're going to have that baseline going forward of this is what a lot of people expect to have. Now, it may be a while before we see a lot of games with all these out, because Microsoft just announced DirectX 12 Ultimate. Now, developers might have had that beforehand to get their games for later release this year on those consoles. My expectation is at least Microsoft's first party games, we should see some of this stuff come to fruition. But developers really kind of grab a hold of stuff usually about a year afterwards, and then they start kind of working with that and going through. We saw with DirectX 12 with asynchronous compute how slow that was in the beginning before it started to roll, and that was a year to 2 years before more and more games came out with DirectX 12. So it's going to be a process that we are all going to go through, but I think it's going to be a good process. I really think the PC games that we're going to be coming from it are going to be much better for it. We're going to have much more performant games, hopefully, on this whole DirectX 12 Ultimate line, and it's going to be interesting to see. I do expect Vulkan to have something. Sony will have something similar. It's not going to be using DirectX, but they're going to have the same hardware or same like requirements. A lot of the hardware is the same underneath. So hopefully with these unified API, especially like Vulkan or DirectX, you can really, with the developer, make it easier so that you can get to market. And when you get to market, have something that's very visual and very just wraps you into that world that whatever game it is, and makes you want to come back, because not only does it have all the graphics that you want to play with, it is performant as well, and you have the speed, and you can play wherever you want. So that's a little bit on not only DirectX 12, but where I think a lot of this console stuff is going to come into, and how we can progress gaming forward. It kind of felt a little stagnant the last couple of years. Yeah, we have the RTX stuff where it just didn't grab me because there's nothing, really pushing it. And now with DirectX 12 Ultimate, that is going to be pushing it forward. Microsoft's invested in it to really push it forward. It's going to be something that every developer that's going to do DirectX 12 Ultimate, which there's a lot of games out there that do use Microsoft DirectX, Microsoft can say, hey, we'll help you add this in. And with that, Microsoft's a big company that can be able to help show the developers, where to do stuff, help them out if they need to financially, right? Because it's a benefit to Microsoft that there's more games on the ecosystem, so more people can play, more people can get involved, and who knows, might even be part of, the Xbox, the PC, and xCloud. So you have multiple places where you can play it. So with that, let me know what your thoughts are on how this whole DirectX 12 is going to help out not just consoles but PCs and cloud gaming, and really help I think the industry move to a good place, and really just springboard off into the next time we need to get to another springboard. So yeah, and let me know what games you're looking forward to and what details, visual, immersiveness you want to see. So with that, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for helping support Gray Overload and helping this channel grow. I really appreciate it. Hopefully here I can start getting the network in. We're all, everyone's kind of in their houses for a lot. So I'm trying to get a lot of stuff, organized and done so I can actually have a good network here in this house, and hopefully be able to provide even more videos here. And I'll probably be buying some equipment here very soon, so I'll have those unboxings and review videos up as I start using it and getting that in. So thank you guys for watching. Again, any suggestions for network, leave those, email me, leave them in the comments. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe.